Hey everyone. So a very common question I get asked is, I have busted my pen, I've dropped it, how do I fix it? Well, first step is email me just to see if you're covered under warranty. A lot of times people are, but people forget that we actually have a warranty. If it's not, well, we can still have you send it back to us and we'll touch it up, fix it for a very minimal cost. And if it's not and you don't want to send it back, we can talk you through how to fix it yourself. So this is a properly mounted +61 copper pen. You can see the end is busted up from hammering it, dropping it multiple times. It has gone through its paces and it is promptly had a dead tip. So first thing I'm going to ask to assess the problem is to take the pen apart and see if the piston moves freely. So you got the piston with the bolt. If that part moves freely, 9 times out of 10 the body is fine. Does your refill move freely in and out? Yep. So no blockage in that part of the pen. I'll ask you to try to put your ink through the nib. This is not going through. Sometimes it can be the ink itself. This time I know it isn't, but sometimes the inks can actually get little burrs on the metal if they've been hit and dropped a lot. And knocking those burrs off can sometimes fix the problem. However, as you can see from this nib, if I can get a good focus on it, it is pretty stuffed. Bordering on not repairable. Ideally, I would be using my lathe with a 2.6mm drill, re-drilling it out, then getting a mini file in there, smoothing it out a bit, emerying it off, maybe actually parting the nib section off because it is not straight anymore. You can kind of see a bit of an angle there. So if we can't do that, like right now I'm actually away with work, so that's not an option for me. So let's see what we can do. I've got a Swiss Army knife with a little can opener. This is going to be a lot of copper to remove if I went down this method, but you could just work this around. Actually, maybe easier if I attach it to the pen. So I've got some better purchase. And just work it back and forward. God, that is, it's pretty good in there. So copper is a lovely metal. Not the best to machine and work with, but lovely to look at. It feels nice, the weight's good, but unfortunately because it's softer, it isn't always very durable. So we're getting better. So I need to remember to look at the camera. We're getting better, but you can see it's still a little bit open in there. I can keep going with the Swiss Army knife, it probably will get there eventually. But what else I've got here? It's just an old drill I actually found laying around. I haven't even measured the size. I'm going to guess about 3mm. We can do the same thing, just put that in. Just try to deburr that nib section. It's not often the damage is going to be any deeper. It's only going to be the first mil or two in the nib. No, this one is pretty dusted. Alright, so what else I've got is a nail. And we can work that. You can, it's hard to see, obviously, but it's definitely not a uniform round hole, because it goes in sometimes, it doesn't. So with this, you'd probably just keep going back and forth a bit. Again, I'm not sure what gauge nail this is. It was just a large one I found laying around. And you can keep working that angle. So we'll test that, see if that's done anything. And well, I'll be buggered, it actually did more than I thought. So we'll put it back together. Same munted tip, just in case anyone thinks I did some sleight of hand stuff there. Come on here. Oh my God. Must have hit the edge of one of the threads when I banged it through and just took a little bit of the thread off. So it's still not liking me. Back on again just to make sure. So it's coming through now, but it's still catching. But we know this is actually working a bit. Going through a bit of each way. It'll get there. It'll take a while. What else we can do is I've got some emery rolled up here on an even smaller nail, and we can try feeding that through. This is not an easy way to do it. So emery is essentially sandpaper for metal. You can get it in different grits. Off the top of my head, this is about 400. Actually, no, I think this is 800. Anyway. That smooths it up a little bit. There's still some averageness going on inside the body though. So you can see it's just not, it's not sliding freely yet. Still a little bit of catching, so we can keep doing that. Go back through the different methods we had. Put it back on here. The can opener works pretty well for normal dents, actually, surprisingly. Most people don't have this level of damage to their pen. So this one has been massively abused. More so than most people are ever going to do to their gear. And it's still a little bit rough in there, so we'll go back to the emery. Keep in mind, it's a lot easier to send this back to me. Well, most of the time we just charge shipping even if it's not covered by warranty. Because another thing people forget we have is a yearly touch-up service. So if your pens are looking a bit worn, they're not going smooth, but they're not broken per se, you can still send them back, pay postage both ways, and we'll strip them down if possible. Some models, like the original click pens, we designed in a way to not be disassembled, which is why I'm not happy with those designs. But you can send it back to us. We'll touch it up. If you want it to be repolished on the externals, we can. A lot of people don't like that. They like to keep the look of it. and then we'll ship it back to you. And most of the time, they run as good, if not better than new. So we've learnt a lot of little bits over the years. So we'll try that now. Again, not recommended to do it this way. And there you go. Fixed.